Welcome back to part 2 of our 12-part mini-series, where we detail the core concepts of minimalism. Like we mentioned in our first video, over the next few weeks we'll be going over the key concepts within minimalism that you'll find helpful if you're an aspiring minimalist, starting out on your own journey to simplifying your life, or even just want some decluttering and minimalism inspo to tackle your own clutter. Throughout each video in our mini-series, we'll detail the concept, what it is and what it isn't, and go over its core benefits with some concrete examples. Today we're focusing on the minimalism concept of less is more, which is at the heart of the minimalist lifestyle, and simplifying things in general. Let's jump into it.
Less is more. It's a core view within minimalism, one that emphasizes simplicity and the idea that having fewer physical possessions or distractions leads to a more fulfilling and focused life. The idea of less is more has its roots in minimalism, where things are actively stripped back and simplified as much as possible. It really is a focused way to get to the heart of uncomplicating things, moving away from wasting time, effort, or even money on the non-essentials or the non-priorities to focus on what truly matters to you. Yes, a big part of that when it comes to minimalism is thinking deeply about the physical possessions you keep or bring into your home and curating your things into really just keeping your favorites of favorites. But it goes deeper than that too, beyond just the physical stuff. The less is more principle applies to the other big areas of life too, like your schedule, your commitments, and even who you surround yourself with.
The less is more concept encourages us to actively focus on less, and it's by focusing on less that we gain so much more in life. More time, more money, more freedom. There's a lot more that can be gained by intentionally trying to prioritize just the most important or worthwhile things in life, whatever that looks like to you. When we focus on having less stuff, it becomes easier to find what we need when we need it. Less keys on your keychain means it's easier to quickly open a door when you realize you locked your dog inside with the birthday cake you just spent hours making. More keys mean you'll probably not get there in time, rummaging past all the excess keys, and you'll likely have a vet trip coming up. I used to hang on to every key I was given with the thought of, but what if I need it someday? I did the same with clothes and shoes, and it piles up. Years can go by and the stuff can just get to the point of feeling overwhelming, and thoughts of where do I even begin can creep in when you even start thinking about simplifying. By actively distilling the things in our lives into the most important, or focusing on less is more, little by little we can simplify our day-to-day lives and free up a lot of mental space, physical space, and make life a whole lot more enjoyable.
Less is more is not about having less for the sake of it. It's not a numbers game. I think a lot of people hear the word minimalist and instantly conjure up images of black turtlenecks and think that we're all extreme with how many things can I not have? What number I can get down to like it's some sort of competition. It's not. That's what we call extreme minimalism, and even that should never be purely about the number. We're never advocating for less is more purely for the sake of having a specific number reached, like only having 2 pairs of shoes, and we're certainly never about flaunting how little or how much stuff a person has. Your life is your life, and as long as it suits you and serves you in a way that you find manageable and fulfilling, we are all for it. We're not about the numbers competition though, on either end of the spectrum. We all lead different lives with different values, desires, and commitments. And as long as we're being intentional with what does and does not work for us, tossing out the excess where it suits, then it's a wonderful thing. It makes life far more enjoyable when we dance to the beat of our own drum and know what is actually considered excess to us personally in our own lives.
By not focusing on purely a number, but on the goal in mind, like a simplified, manageable, or easily cleaned home, for example, I think there'd be a lot more people feeling less overwhelmed or overburdened by stuff. By keeping up with buying the latest trends, by dusting and rearranging a revolving door of expensive thingamabobs, and I think a lot more people would actually find the term minimalism, which is all about simplifying life, less daunting and more helpful than anything. So yes, less is more is not a numbers game. It's not about going without or suffering through life without the stuff you genuinely love, need, or use. It's about switching the focus onto distilling and curating your things into what you prioritize the most. It frees up time, frees up money, reduces stress, and ensures you are living a life aligned with your greatest and most important values and needs and wants from life.
Less is more encourages people to prioritize things like quality over quantity, which is actually the topic of our first video in this series. series. The two concepts are intrinsically linked, and if you haven't watched that video, make sure you do. Less is more also encourages us to embrace simplicity, which uncomplicates life in the best way possible. There are so many wonderful benefits of focusing on the less is more principle, so here are our top 6 benefits we found from our years of being minimalist and focusing on less is more.
First on our list of benefits, reduced stress. Excess stuff equals more stress. There's more to take care of. There's more to dust, to clean, to tidy up, to manage. Having more stuff adds to your list of commitments, and in today's ever busy day and age, I think we're all feeling the weight of taking care of too many things. We mentioned it in our clutter stats video, but there's a direct connection between clutter and stress. A number of studies have shown that clutter has a negative impact on mental health by increasing stress hormones like cortisol. A study conducted by Saxby DE and Repetti R shows this increase in cortisol is particularly stark between women with cluttered homes versus women with tidy, uncluttered homes. Those with cluttered homes have higher levels of cortisol throughout the day compared to those with less clutter.
When we're surrounded by lots of stuff, lots of clutter, we're constantly reminded of the things we still need to do. The mail that needs replying to, the clothes to be returned, the random things piled up on the kitchen counter you still need to clean up before getting dinner ready. When you're surrounded by clutter, which is anything you don't love, need, or use, it's like your brain can't shut off its to-do list and just relax. It's constantly stimulated by stuff visually.
So the less is more concept works wonders here. If you actively focus on having less stuff to begin with and bringing less stuff into your home that you then need to manage for the rest of its life in some way, you'll lower your stress. I've certainly found this is the case, and I've noticed the equal and opposite is just about always true too. The more stressed out I've been with life in previous years has seen a huge uptick in stuff creeping in and cluttering up my home, which only ever further increased my stress and overwhelm. It's not a fun cycle, and I know a lot of us, myself included, have used shopping as a bit of a temporary stress relief. But if there's one piece of wisdom I wish I could share with younger me of over a decade ago, is that shopping is a temporary band-aid to stress, and it's not worth it in the long term if it's mindless and simply because you wanted to suppress difficult emotions of stress and overwhelm. It ends up adding to it, and it's an expensive and unsustainable hobby to have. On the flip side, being intentional and purposeful with every purchase you make, focusing on less is more when it comes to shopping and collecting things to surround yourself with, well, it's far better. Not having an excessive amount of clothes, all with endless item combos, makes it easier to get dressed in the morning. Not having clutter piling up on your countertop makes preparing and sharing a meal with loved ones not seem like a daunting and out of reach task. Less is more. It's a fantastic view to see the world, and it without a doubt reduces stress.
Next, as the second benefit of focusing on less is more, you'll end up saving more money. This is a big one, and it's pretty self-explanatory. The less you buy, the less you spend, and the less you spend, the more money you save. Jess and I are what you'd call frugal minimalists. We find enjoyment in not overspending and instead like to put our money into other worthwhile and fulfilling things that align with our values and goals in life. So spending a disproportionate amount of money on physical things like fancy new watches or trendy clothes just for the sake of novelty just isn't something we do. That's not to say we don't spend money. We do, but we're incredibly intentional with where it's going. And because we never want to clutter up our home, we want a home that is simple to manage and clean. We found that the less is more principle applied to every purchase decision we make has saved us a lot of money over the past 8ish years that we've begun our minimalism and decluttering journey. Less clutter equals more money. It's a win-win. So far, we're up to less stress and more money saved as key benefits of applying a less is more mindset to life.
Jumping into benefit 3 of less is more, we found that our gratitude has increased tenfold. When we focus on cherishing the things we do love and use in our lives, we're more grateful for them because we're more mindful of the thing and its positive impact on making our everyday lives easier or more enjoyable. So gratitude has increased ever since focusing on a less is more approach. I'm far more aware of keeping my favorite clothes in good condition by turning them inside out before putting them in the wash or on the washing line so they don't get sun marks burnt into them, because I'll think to myself, that's my favorite blue top, I definitely want it to last. And I'm far more aware of my things when I only have one of them. When we only keep our favorites of favorites, it makes us more grateful for that specific item and we take better care of it. So applying a less is more approach to your things increases gratitude.
Next, as number 4 on our list of the main benefits of the less is more concept, more freedom. When we focus on not accumulating random stuff or amassing huge amounts of clutter, it opens up more opportunities for freedom that we didn't even dream about. This one is tied closely to the make more money aspect we spoke of before, because when you're not spending all your money on random thingamabobs and whatchamacallits to clutter up your home, well, you're saving money. There's a very real tangible impact this saved money can have on your freedom to do and experience what you want. want. Not drowning in consumer debt from loading up with useless clutter is one of the most powerful ways you'll find more space for freedom in your life. We've certainly found this. Not only are we saving more money from not buying clutter, we're not beholden to managing the clutter through the form of tidying, dusting, rearranging and managing it all the time. We'll draw back on the clutter stats video we shared a few weeks ago with the shocking stat that the average person spends a whopping 6.5 months of their entire life simply searching for lost things around their house amongst their clutter. That's crazy. The sheer amount of time you're granted by not piling up your home with clutter is staggering, and that can have a direct link to the freedom you have over that newfound time. That could mean more time to spend with friends, starting a new hobby, or traveling, or whatever your heart desires when it thinks of freedom. For Jess and I, this aspect of more freedom was strongest when thinking about quitting our 9-to-5 office jobs and working for ourselves. We drastically shifted our shopping patterns, sold our clutter, and made moves to have more freedom. In big part, this was helped by changing our mindset when it came to more is more and shifting to a less is more path. Less is more equals more freedom in one way or another, whatever that looks like to you. And personally, we're unbelievably happy we made the shift.
Second to last on our list of benefits, adopting a less is more mindset as a way of life is better for the environment. This one might seem obvious because the less you buy, the less pressure you're putting on the environment. But the importance of this one can't be understated. Our earth is precious, and I think by now we all know the massive impact overconsumption is placing on our planet. The pollution the fast fashion industry is pumping out, the demand on water and other resources to produce more and more is unsustainable. That's not to say buying things is bad, but overconsumption is. Anything in excess is really. And when it comes to our planet and the safety of future generations enjoying a planet with clean air and water, it's a no-brainer that we can all be a little more conscious with our purchasing choices and do the best we can to feel good about mending clothes or broken tools or buying the more sustainable choice where possible. Less is more is a far better approach in general when it comes to caring for our environment and is one powerful benefit of this minimalism concept.
Last on our list of core minimalism benefits of the minimalist approach of less is more time. Perhaps one of the greatest benefits we've personally found when it comes to adopting a more minimalist lifestyle and focusing on core concepts like less is more is the sheer amount of time it's given us back. We've mentioned the bonkers stat before about how the average person spends 6.5 months of their entire life looking for lost things in their home amongst their clutter, which is 4,680 hours. This number goes up or down for you individually, purely based on how much or how little clutter you surround yourself with. That was a study conducted by IKEA, and it's eye-opening to see just how much time clutter can steal from you life-wise. Imagine what else you could do or accomplish with that 6.5 months of life up your sleeve.
As we're talking about shocking ways clutter can zap time away from you, there's another stat we came across and shared recently, one that we haven't stopped thinking about, that the average woman spends more than 8 years of her life shopping. Yikes. For more detail around where exactly that time spent shopping is going, things like window shopping and shopping for shoes, make sure to check out our last video. It's wild. Clutter takes up your time in a very real way. It's something I wish I knew earlier in life. But the good news is that there's a simple way to gain some more time in your day-to-day over your lifetime, and it's striking a better balance with not collecting clutter in the first place. The less is more concept reigns supreme when it comes to freeing up more time, and personally will be forever grateful that we stumbled across the concept of minimalism and gained more of our time back from not mindlessly shopping and buying anything that catches our eye. We have more time for the things in life that personally bring us more value. Again, there's nothing wrong with shopping, but it's when there's excess, which is what clutter is, that there's very real time that can be gained back from striking a healthier balance. You'll know what feels right for you, and we hope by us running through our main benefits that we've personally felt from adopting a less is more attitude when it comes to stuff, that you'll find a thought or idea that resonates with you and you can simplify your life in a way that feels best for you in your current stage of life.
So there we go. Less is more, the second of our minimalism mini-series detailing the core concepts you should know if you're an aspiring minimalist. Even if you don't consider yourself a minimalist, there's so much to be gained from its underlying ideas and concepts, and has great applications for simplifying your life in whatever way you want.
Like we always say, minimalism helps us save time, money, and simplifies our life like nothing else has ever come close to. We hope you'll join us for the rest of our mini-series covering the other key concepts of minimalism. Let us know in the comments below, how do you apply less is more in your own life?
And with that, we'll catch you all next time. Bye.
I forgot to breathe.